Hydration is super important for all the humans on the earth, not just the singers, but the singers need to be extra hydrated because our larynx depends on it. What's up? It is day 13 of the Love Your Larynx series. I'm doing it live today, and this one's going to be quick because I am filling in for another teacher, so I can't stay long. But yesterday I came on here and talked a little bit about all of the things we eat, drink, snort, smoke, all of the things, not all of them, but a lot of the common ones about what we put in our body, and kind of encouraging you to start thinking of your instrument, your voice, like an ecosystem. You guys, if you don't mind popping in the comments and saying hi when you get here. I can't tell who's here, so I'd love to say hi. So yeah, we talked about all these things that you can ingest basically into your physical body and how it affects your voice, because your voice is biologically tied to you. But today we're going on the other side of it, which is kind of the spirit and the mind of a singer. And this gets into my passion zone. This gets into my like magic zone where I get very excited. I just finished coaching a lesson. Oh, they've kind of chilled out, but oh, look, that one. My ears get really red, and I bet you like, yep, my chest is blotchy. I'm like super pumped up right now about this. I get very excited, and I like physically react in my body. So today I'm kind of talking about the things you put in your mind as a singer and how they affect your career, your outcomes, your physical notes, your physical ability to sing. There's a lot there, which is super cool. So this is where I get really excited to teach singers, is in this. So my friend Lauren likes to call me a vocal coach with a side of life coach, and that's kind of the truth. So at the end of this little chat, by the way, I'm going to speak a little bit. I'm launching tomorrow. I'm launching a group coaching program called the Bold Vocal Academy, and it's basically where science and spirit intersect and become this singer-friendly haven. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that after I finish up teaching. So stick around if that sounds like something you're interested in, and if not, all good. So managing the mind is super important as a singer. If you've ever had coaching, you'll notice that sometimes in a high note situation, we'll tell you to do something. We'll be like, hey, think of that note like down here. Let me get my pencil straight. There we go. Everything's backwards. Think of that note down here, even though it's way up here. And I want you to think about coming at it from above, like you're stepping down, stepping very gently onto that note, and you set it down. And we have this thing called the rule of opposites, where if the note's up here and your line ascends, you actually want to kind of think of the note going that way, or the phrase descending. Same thing, if you have a descending phrase, you want to kind of think of it as going this way, because two things happen. We freak ourselves out going up into high notes because we think, oh, that's high, and then like we strain and we try and pull all this weight of our voice up high, and it doesn't work. And then when it doesn't work, we're like, see, I can't sing that. Obviously, this is too high for me. And so we start to strain and squeeze and try and support by engaging the wrong muscles when we go for a high note. And when we go low, we often tend to go under pitch or just sound not very rich or warm in our vowel tone, because it often comes into speaking range and we get very lazy. We're like, meh, whatever. So the rule of opposites kind of counteracts that. When you're going high, you think it's low so that your mind kind of doesn't trip out on this high note and like, oh, well, I can't sing high, so this is obviously going to fail. And then you do, and then you're right. And it's this endless cycle. And then the low notes, we tend to just like over relax as we come down. So if we think of those notes as living higher up in the voice, sometimes they're going to come out much more cleanly and with a better tone because we don't just over relax the face. So that's just one of many, many, many tricks that people who coach you will give you on how to hit notes that seem out of range. And part of it is also training your voice. So sometimes they are actually a bit out of range. So you have to go in and do your exercises and expand your range over the course of some time. So it's not like a magic trick. You also have to be putting in the work of singing. But that's one of the ways we can trick the mind to singing better. Okay, so that's like surface level stuff. That is the very beginning. Sometimes we'll have you do stuff like, hey, squeeze your butt when you sing that note, and you put your brain somewhere else, and then the note happens instead of thinking of all this tension. There's a lot of little mental tricks like that. However, you know, just because we have this conversation of this note's high, I can't do it, it's the I can't do it is really what's important here. So part of when I coach, that's a lot of what I spend time on, and I just had a whole session where we didn't sing, which seems wrong, right? You're like, well, I'm paying you to help me sing. Yeah, but helping you sing is getting your brain on straight in your mind, right? Your brain will totally ruin it, because when you really think about it, you use your two hands to play a guitar. You use your two hands to play a piano. You play your drums with your hands and your feet, right? And maybe like a little bob in the head. You play instruments with your body, but what do we play the voice with? It is the body, right? So what is in control of the voice, if you think about it? And it's your mind. The answer is your mind is completely in control of your instrument. So if your mindset's crappy, your voice is gonna be crappy in some ways, you know, maybe not, you know, your tone of voice might still be pretty, or, you know, there's probably some not crappy things about your voice. But if you have these beliefs of cannot, I'm not that kind of singer, oh, I'm not meant to do that, I'm just this, like these sorts of beliefs start to come up, and they really will kind of stop you in your tracks. So I want to talk about a few things under this umbrella. And one is just, the first is just starting to listen to your inner voice and what it's telling you. Like, is it beating you up? Are you beating yourself up? Do you hear it criticizing you? Or is your inner critic louder than your inner cheerleader? You've got one, you know, it's like the angel devil. This one's like, hey, you're doing really good. Good for you. You tried something new. You put yourself out there and you did good. Yay, yay, yay. This guy over here is kind of like, you suck. What is that? Isn't that in a movie? Happy Gilmore, maybe? If you guys know what I'm talking about, put it in the comments. You suck. Sorry. That's what mine sounds like a lot. So getting an awareness of that is the very first layer of this kind of work. If you are constantly saying, like if you're getting frustrated in the practice room and saying thoughts or physical statements like, I just can't do this, or I suck, like I'm so bad at that, I'm really this, like when you hear that in your mind or in your actual language, I want you to put a stop to it. I want you to be aware of it and just say, hey, I talked about this the other day in a video. I don't know if all of you were here because it wasn't live, but my inner critic's name is Earl. And he's an old drunk redneck, and nobody takes people like Earl seriously. So why should I believe him? Why should I take him seriously? Because he's an old drunk redneck and he's got nothing valid to say to me. It's just mean old drunken spewings, okay? So it helps to give it that persona and say like, hey, this isn't me. This is not my high self, my truest self speaking to me. Another way a lot of people approach this is like, if you wouldn't say it to your friend or your sister or your child, then it belongs nowhere in your own language. If you wouldn't call yourself, you know, if you wouldn't call your sister ugly or fat, then you got to stop calling yourself that, right? Because in order to really be effective as a musician, we have to be seen and we have to believe in ourselves in a very deep way. And insecurity is going to wreck all of that, and really quickly. So if the voice isn't functioning, part of it is, yeah, we're going to adjust your vowel. We're going to adjust your breath support. We're going to adjust your technique, because there is a technique to singing and it's very important. So it's not all mindset work. That wouldn't work. You're like, I think I'm a great singer. Yeah, but if you don't learn to sing, you're not. Or maybe you are like naturally, but you can't just take your average Joe and like convince them to tell themselves, like write it on their bathroom mirror, I'm a fantastic singer. And then all of a sudden they are. Like, it's an art form. It's a craft like anything else. They're going to have to put in the work on both angles. But some people are born really naturally gifted musicians, which is awesome. And the mindset is equally important there, because you need to be seen in order to share your art. And if you're feeling down on yourself constantly, it's going to be terrible. Which brings me to the next point, which is what you put in your mind really affects you on an overall level that I think people maybe underestimate a little bit. So this kind of boils into the social media realm, into the TV, Netflix realm, into the what are you consuming? I want you to look at what you're consuming. So yesterday we looked at what you're consuming, like food and alcohol and drugs and pills, like all of the medication, anything you're putting in your body that's affecting your voice. But I also want you to go ahead and take the radical standpoint that whatever you're putting in your mind is affecting your voice, because your mind's in control. You can't use your hands to play your voice. You have to build it. And it's like there's a piece missing in it, right? It's like you've got all this low stuff and all this high stuff, and in the middle, it's like this weird no man's land. And your mind is completely in control over setting your body in the correct way, over having faith that you can actually do it, So I want you to consider that everything you're putting in your mind, you're also putting through your voice. And that's a little bit of a stretch, I realize. So the perfect example for me is this. If there's another singer or someone else who's doing what you're doing on the internet, and you find yourself seeing their feed come up, and it's bringing up something for you, some sort of like, well, I'll never make it that far. Or if you notice that you're jealous, or that if you feel the need to like maybe make fun of them or like criticize them, I want you to really pay attention to that, because there's something there for you to see about yourself, right? We are mirrors of others. And when we spend this mindless time scrolling, it's mindless in a way, but it's not, right? Because we're still ingesting it into the mind. You're still filtering it through your brain and letting it become part of your awareness. So if you're seeing somebody on your Facebook or on your Instagram and you're going like, gosh, I really wish I had what they have, I want you to take a step back and like just start to notice that, because is it what they have that you want? Like, is it the gig that you want, or is it the acceptance that you want, right? You know what I mean? Like, oh, this person is playing at all these really cool spots, and I wish I had that, and you have this jealousy, right? But is it really the gigs and the spots that you're jealous of, or is it the level of accomplishment that they've reached at this point? Is it their gosh, this is hard when I don't have a concrete example. Is it the community that supports them and likes those things? Is it the people that come in and say like, I'm going to come to your gig. I'm going to come support you. I love your music. Maybe it's the community that you're missing when you get jealous of somebody that's actively doing something, right? So, and that's not the case always, but I definitely want you to take a step back and go, what is it exactly about this post and this person that's bothering me? And I think if you take some time with it, you might find it's not exactly what you think. Or like, this person posts all the time. They're so into themselves. Maybe that's an indication that you're not comfortable being visible, right? And why? Why is it that you're afraid to be seen, and that this person putting themselves out there like that triggers you so badly? So you can see that these are kind of very broad examples, but I want to give you also permission to curate your feed. If you're finding that people's content is triggering you, you don't have to follow along, even if they're your best friend, even if they're your client, right? There's some of my clients I don't follow because I want to have some space with them. I want to be able to see them in a different way, and not because they trigger me necessarily, but because I want to remain a little unbiased. And so sometimes if I notice people are posting stuff that gives me opinions about them that I don't want to carry into our work together, I just don't follow them for a while and get some neutrality. You can also take a break from the damn internet. Y'all don't have to be here every day. It is mind melting. You can also choose to use your feed for good, which is kind of the path I'm on. I really want to educate and connect people through my social media presence. And I'm also building something for myself. So I use it in a very intentional way. And I gotta say, not everybody likes it, which is okay. You got to be okay with everybody, you know, you can't compare yourself so hard to everyone else. And that's the culture we live in by living on Facebook and in Instagram. And that's the American Idol culture and the voice culture. Are those shows awesome? Yes. Have they broken amazing artists? Yes. But if that's how we approach singing constantly from this competitive standpoint, who's better, who's worse, we ruin the art of singing. And the art of singing is, it's a channel. It's this universal language. It's a way to connect people to one another. It's a way to process our own pain and our own stuff. So when we constantly live in this comparison zone, we crush creativity and we crush the potential of like filling out your mission in music, whether it be to like help somebody feel better about a loss of some sort because they're not alone, or whether it be to, you know, make a bunch of money so you don't have to be tied to a desk and you can be more empowered and create a path that's all your own. There's a lot of reasons for why we do what we do, but if we completely compare ourselves to people all day, it's gone. It's out the window. So be careful what you consume with your brain. I want you to do a few little exercises as I leave this video. I'm gonna get off because I have to go elsewhere, but I want you to notice who's louder in your mind. Angel, devil, cheerleader, critic. Cheerleader, critic, cheerleader, critic. Who's louder? And if that critic is louder and you notice it all the time, I want you to just be like, hey, buddy, your name's whatever your name is, or little lady, whoever you are. Maybe she's a mean old lady, who knows? But I want you to give it a persona and start to recognize when he or she is talking, okay? Because that's gonna help us know that that stuff's not true. We don't listen to mean old crazy homeless ladies. We don't listen to mean old redneck drunks with a gun in one hand and a bottle of whiskey in the other. We don't take these people seriously, and you shouldn't either. So you gotta give your voice, that's the critic, a little bit of a kick in the pants and tell them to get out. Secondly, curate your feed. Pay attention to stuff that makes you feel good. If you're comparing the hell out of yourself, just stop, because you're never going to put anything out. Did you know when I was in my early 20s, I made a whole EP, 5 songs that I wrote, and I paid to have them produced and recorded by this amazing team. And I think it was like $6,000 out of my own pocket as a young person. And when it came time to be done with it, I scrapped it. I threw it away. And it was, you know, it's juvenile. I can hear stuff off of it now and recognize my immaturity as a writer. But when I hear the vocals and the music and all of it, it's like, it was pretty damn good. And I got so scared that people would reject it and hate it that I just trashed it. And I never did anything. And in fact, I lost touch with the people who worked on it with me because I was so ashamed that I chickened out. There was a lot tied to it, right? So this is all mind trash. This is me going, I'm not good enough. People are going to hate this. Why would I bother writing a song? I'm just a singer. I can sing other people's music. My music isn't any good. All of these conversations, right? And part of being a singer is being able to put yourself out there and be vulnerable. It's a very vulnerable art form. So this is why you get coaching, by the way. This is why I enjoy coaching, because part of what I realized later in my life is part of the reason I feel called to sing is I want to connect people, and I want to connect people through my own teaching as well. So this is the part of this where I'm going to tell you that I'm launching something tomorrow, and it's really exciting, and it's called the Bold Vocal Academy, and it's a group coaching program online. It is open to the first 12 members for $37 a month lifetime price. It will go up in price, but these first founding members I want to give a really good friends and family rate to, because I'm in a learning process with you, and I want to make sure that, you know, we can grow as a group. And then eventually this will grow bigger and bigger, and it's going to be amazing. But this is the kind of stuff I teach on. So if you're not sure if you want to work with me or what, we're going to be teaching on everything from vocal technique, right? Because this is an important part of being a singer, all the way through mindset and business goals and money mindset and all of what it takes to actually run the business of being a singer, which includes paying attention to what's in your body, what's in your mind, what's on the page, right? So it's kind of a four-pronged approach: mind, body, spirit, soul. All of it comes from, you have to have all four to be a really completed and successful singer. So, and I also work with songwriting too. So even if you've never written a song, we're going to start to show you how. And if you are a songwriter, we're going to get into that song and help you build it into a vocal masterpiece, right? And also what to do with it in a confident way. So if that's something that you think you might be interested in, I'm going to launch it tomorrow, and there's going to be an availability for you to raise your hand and say, like, this sounds like me. It's a really wonderful, affordable way to work with me, and it's a group program, which one requires you be vulnerable, which is terrifying, I understand. But if you are not sure if vulnerability is your thing, I want you to go watch the Brené Brown documentary on Netflix about being vulnerable. It's insanely good. And then two, we have to do it in a public level, right? So having a really safe space, a safe group to work in, a tribe, a community, that's going to be a big part of our work. So there's a Facebook group that is private that we will be working in, and I'll also be doing the calls in a Zoom room, so they are private. Yeah, so tomorrow you can look forward to seeing more details about that. And if you are struggling with this kind of stuff, feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you and kind of help you talk through it at some point. This is definitely what I'm really passionate about in my life right now. So I want to make a big impact through little changes in individuals. For the better. Okay, I'm going to get off because I have to go. Tomorrow is my interview with my vocal coach. So tomorrow I'm releasing a video of my mentor and I having a chat, which is really fun for me, and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. And then I'll also be sending out a lot of blasts about how you can enroll in the Bold Vocal Academy if you're interested. I'm going to go. Thank you very much for signing on. I don't know who's here because I can't tell, but it was really nice being with you. Bye.